Hi guys, my name's Hunter. I'll be teaching you guys how to properly swing a bat with good form and mechanics for the game of softball or baseball. Hopefully from this you'll be able to properly execute this skill with what you've learned. Proper dress for this skill, you want to wear comfortable clothing and supportive shoes. So you definitely don't want to wear like jeans or flip-flops because you won't be very comfortable when you try to do this. Technically you can wear anything, but you want to be comfortable. As far as equipment goes, you need a bat. I prefer a 23-33, which means it's a 23 ounce and a 33-inch long bat. And so you definitely need a bat. In the game, you'll definitely need a helmet, but for this instruction, you won't need one. We're just learning the mechanics of how to swing. And then you'll also need, well, you don't necessarily need, but you'll want, I prefer batting gloves for a cushion and support for swinging because the impact can be stressful on your hands, causing blisters and whatnot. So I prefer to wear batting gloves. Some people also prefer elbow pads for protection in case they get hit by a pitch, or a shin pad in case they swing and it ricochets off their shin. To prepare for this activity, you definitely want to stretch out a little bit, get loose. You definitely don't want to be tight because you can cause a lot of injury, especially if the weather's cold outside. I've seen a lot of dislocated shoulders, hips. It's not good. So you want to stretch out really well, stretch a lot of your quads, a lot of upper body and your core, do a lot of oblique stretches. You don't have to do a whole lot of it, just enough to get you loose and ready. It won't take a lot of cardio, just some light static stretching. So to get started, we're going to talk a little bit about stance. First with your feet, you don't want to be too far apart, you want to mostly be shoulder width. I prefer to have a little bit wider stance because I like a little more support for balance. So I have a little bit wider stance. As for holding the bat, you're going to line up your knocker knuckles. So take your knocker knuckles, your hand, make a fist and knock on the table or the floor. Those are your knocker knuckles. So you want to take those and line those up on the bat towards the bottom of the handle. You line those up. So you'll have flexion in all of your phalanges and then flexion in your elbows right here. And we're ready to go with the bat on our shoulder just like this. Then to get into our load, this is the first step. We have stance first, which is we just went over, and then the load. So as for load, you still have your same stance with your feet. Your phalanges and elbows are still flexed. The next part is you just want to take your hands and put them up by your ear. We don't want them up way up high out here or back here. On it nice and close and tight. The bat angle is at a 45-degree angle. So it's not straight up, it's not flat. We want it right happy in the middle. So now we're comfortable and ready to come at ready for the pitch coming at us. So now we have a little bit higher flexion. We've got flexion at our shoulders, elbows still at our phalanges, and now we've added flexion to our knees and our hips and our ankles. So when you stance from this view, you've got flexion here, here, and here. The next step that we're going to talk about is the stride or the trigger. This is what initiates our movement at the ball coming toward us. This is what initiates the swing. So we're here in our stance, we're ready, and then we'll load. As soon as you load, you'll feel some weight go on your back leg. This is especially important for girls because all of our power, we're not very upper body strong, but all of our strength and our power, especially in hitting, comes from our lower body. So we'll put at least 60 or 70% of our body weight on this back leg, so it's important to be strong and supported. You don't want to put all of your weight on this back leg because then your front leg crumbles. You want to be over your center of balance, but you still want to be strong and supported, have some weight still on that front leg too. So as soon as you go into your load, you'll feel the heel of your front foot raise up off the ground. This movement right here is the stride, where we come forward just slightly at the pitcher, where the ball has begun its way towards us. So here we'll just take a stride, step forward at the pitcher. You can see my heel still up off the ground. It's not a lot, it's not way up here, but we're still supported on the ball of our foot. So we're in our stance, load, stride. It's a slight movement forward. We're still flexed at our ankle, knee, and hip, elbows, phalanges, and shoulders. So you'll also notice with this movement in the stride forward that there's plantar flexion in the front foot. We're no longer in neutral, but we have our toe pointed forward. So There's an extension. There's the plantar flexion of our foot downward. So we also have plantar flexion there. So the next thing we're going to talk about is contact. This is where we actually make contact with the ball. We'll break it up into two parts. We'll do lower body first and then upper body. So first, when we get to contact, we're still comfortably, this is after we've done our stride, so I've done my stride. The first thing we'll do is heel plant. We're not moving our foot at all, we're just planting our foot into the ground. And as soon as I do that, you can see the weight shift. My hips naturally want to go forward when I do that heel plant. So as soon as I heel plant, this becomes one fluid motion. So we'll start, I have my heel plant, and as soon as I do that, when I heel plant, my hips start moving this way, and my hips naturally begin to rotate. So we're here, my hips naturally, we do the stride, heel plant, and then rotation. You see the plantar flexion now in my back foot, but my front foot's now in neutral. So there's plantar flexion in my ankle, or in my foot, and then there's flexion in my knee, and my weight is naturally beginning to shift backwards, putting a lot of weight on this lower back leg. So again, we're here, we take our stride, heel plant, weight shift, and then natural rotation here of our hips, forward towards the pitcher. There's flexion at the knee and at the ankle, and plantar flexion in our foot. Next, we have the contact with our upper body now, which is obviously the most important part because we need that to hit the ball. So when we are at contact, we're ready, we stride, heel plant, and even when our hips naturally begin to go forward and rotate, our hands follow our hips. And it's so important that your hands follow your hips instead of your hips following your hands, because that can get you in a lot of trouble and develop a lot of bad habits. So remember, hands follow the hips. Your hips will start to go forward first, and as soon as your hips begin that movement, your hands will follow. So in this, we'll just take it, your hands will go to the location of where the ball is being thrown. For this demonstration, we'll just do it to my home run pitch right here. That's what I call it. It's the pitch I'm most comfortable hitting. So my hands will throw on my hips. I will stride, natural hip rotation, and my hands are going to the direction of the ball. Automatically, I take the barrel of my bat towards the location. I'm not taking this part of the bat to the ball, I'm taking the barrel of the bat. This is the sweet spot of the bat. We're taking that to where the ball is being thrown. So we're taking the knob of the bat towards the ball, and then the flexion right here. So when we get to contact, you still have the flexion in the lower body. The lower body will never change no matter where the ball is thrown. At contact especially, you want to focus on palm up, palm down. Palm up, palm down. My knocker knuckles are still lined up right here. It's hard to see in my batting gloves. Knocker knuckles are still lined up, and I'm really strong with the bat. I'm not super rigid where I can't move it, but they're in the ends of my fingers where it's most comfortable. So we still have palm up, palm down. And it's imperative at contact that you also have the shape of a box. It's a little difficult to see, and I can't really point it out, but you can make out a box with the corners of my elbows, this point right here, and then up at my chest. So there's a box there. We don't ever want to be extended at contact because we've lost all of our power, or super tight because we have no power here either. So at contact, we do some checks here. Make sure we have palm up, palm down. We've got a good box for power. Our front heel is planted. This leg is straight. We've got flexion at the knee and plantar flexion on our ankle and foot. And then at this point now, we still have flexion at our phalanges and our elbows, but we no longer have it at our shoulders. And we're looking right to where the ball is hitting the bat. Two really important points you want to make when you're hitting, especially on the contact stage, is when you're here, you want to make sure you're making contact in the inside of your front foot. You don't want to be way out here because we lost all of our power. You don't want to be way back here because we're not going to have anything to explode through the ball. So when we're at contact, we want to be making it just on the inside of our front foot. And we also want to make sure that we have a good flat bat head. We don't want to be down like this. We don't want to be down like this because as soon as the ball comes in, especially for softball with like rise balls that are being thrown, a ball is going to ricochet off and pop right up and we're going to be out. So we want to have good flat bat head. There can be a little angle, but we don't want anything like this, and I think it'd be difficult to do it like this. So we want to have the knob of our bat going towards the pitcher, and then the snap right here with a flat bat head. So the next step that we have is literally called extension. It's the point where we actually power through the ball. We've already made contact with it. We just want to explode through the ball and get as much power through it as we can. So we've made contact with the ball at the front of our foot, and now we need to extend forward. Our lower body doesn't change at all. Our lower body stays the same no matter where the ball is thrown every single pitch. It's all upper body now, all arms. So with the extension step, you just power through the ball. I've extended my elbows and my shoulders have extended forward, and I'm pointing the head of my bat right over the pitcher's head. So you can see a little bit of an angle, not a whole lot. I don't want to be way leaned back here or straight up and down. We've made contact and extending through the ball. We've extended our arms straight. That's why we especially don't want to extend our arms at contact, like I said before, because we don't have any power, because that stage comes later. After you make the extension, your follow through is all your own. So a lot of people will do a one-hand release, or they'll follow through like that, or they'll just hang on to it the entire time. Okay, so now we'll just do a little bit of a run through really quick of all the steps again. So we're in our stance, load, stride, contact, extension, follow through. And again, stance, load, stride, contact, extension, follow through. And all together, this is what it would hopefully look like in one fluid motion. To perform this skill takes a lot of practice and effort, timing to put forth towards the skill to do well at it. And I hope you enjoyed this video and you've learned a lot and you've learned how to use the proper form of mechanics and how to swing a bat. Thank you.